So, a business model describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. Hola, bonsoir. A very good evening to one and all present here. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Chirag Gujarati, sir. Principal in charge, Dr. Atmaram Pawar, sir. Vice Principal, Dr. Vasha Pokarkar, ma'am. Vice Principal and Dean, Dr. Janvi Rao, ma'am. President of IIC-PCP, Dr. Sharvil Patil, sir. Vice President Dr. Dipali Bansoria ma'am, MHRD IIC President Dr. C. Botiraja sir, teachers and all students. Hope you all are safe and bountiful in respective homes. Well, I, Angelina Titus, will be your host for the day, and I consider it to be my utmost privilege. On behalf of Institution's Innovation Council, Pune College of Pharmacy, I'd like to cordially welcome you all to this webinar on Business Model Canvas. A brief introduction to MHRD IIC, sir. The Ministry of Human Resources Development, Government of India, established an innovation cell with the purpose of systematically fostering the culture of innovation in all the higher technical education institutions throughout the country. IIC, which is Institutions Innovation Council, is a non-profitable unit that mainly functions on innovations in science and technology, considering the general considerations of the society. I express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Chirag Gujarati, sir, who will be enlightening us with the business model canvas. Chirag Gujarati, sir, is a business coach and mentor to various students and entrepreneurs alike. He started his career as a university professor at Independent College Dublin, Ireland, and Oro University in Surat in areas of entrepreneurship, marketing, and strategy. He is currently a business coach and entrepreneurship program chair at Midas, India. Chirag sir has 3 startup ventures in the field of education and e-learning. He has a client base across India and works with companies for education and solutions in Africa as well. Chirag sir is also a startup mentor at Innovation Valley and mentor of change at Niti Aayog Government of India. He's a certified design thinking practitioner from IDEO and IBM and a certified agile coach from IC Agile. He's also been a visiting faculty at various institutions across country and involved in speaking entrepreneurship events, including the Google Startup Weekend. He has held more than 50 workshops across country on the topic entrepreneurs are made and not born, and also inspired students to take the entrepreneurship as a career choice. We are so overjoyed to have you amongst us, sir. We welcome you, sir, for illuminating us with the perspective on business model canvas. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all the dignitaries, principals, principal, faculty members, and office bearers at the MHRD IIC-PCP. Thank you for having me for this webinar. It's an honor and pleasure to be with all of you. So what I'm going to do in next 20 to 30 minutes is to talk about the business model canvas and the significance of a one-page business plan document, which kind of acts as a strategy document, also a roadmap for those who want to understand a company or start and run a company. Now, first of all, let me start by sharing some understanding of what business model canvas is and why we use business model canvas. So the business model canvas was born out of the need to create a one-page document to understand a company, its customers, its product, and its financial model. We have seen and we have been seeing the concept of a business plan, which is a document which ranges from a 20-page to a 200-page. Essentially, a business plan is something that we provide to financial institutions, in stakeholders, to help them understand what our business is and how it functions, and what are the different financial models are, and revenue models are, and the product categories are. But we live in a digital age. We live in a fast-paced world. We live in an era where 200-page document is something that nobody wants to read, right? Now think about you as students. Um, if I give you a 2000-page or a 200-page book on the topic that you are studying, or if I show you a 15 minutes practical of what is given in the textbook, where you will get better understanding. Obviously, something that you are seeing in 15 minutes. Business model canvas works as a single page document, something similar to a practical understanding of a 200-page document. Why we use business model canvas is that a lot of entrepreneurs, startups, they want to pitch their business, their ideas, their products to investors. Investors have no time to go through your 200-page business plan. Rather, they would want something which is concrete, significant, has all the details in a one-page document. That's where we have business model canvas. It's a tool where you can actually talk about 9 major aspects of all businesses, be it your startup idea, be it your family business, be it your existing running business. You can actually summarize everything in one page. It also acts as a strategy roadmap as to whenever you feel, as an entrepreneur, whenever you feel lost, go back to your business model canvas and you know why you are in the business, what you do, and how you do. So let me take you through the different aspects of business model canvas and how you as individuals, aspiring professionals, aspiring entrepreneurs can use business model canvas for your benefit. So if I'm allowed to share my screen, I would like to, yeah. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, great. So this is a business model canvas. And if you carefully see, there are 9 major components of a business model canvas. And these components are essentially the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats of an organization, of a business, of an idea, of a product. You can also call it a document which actually shows what your business is all about, or the business that you are studying all about. For example, if you want to start, or maybe if you have an idea where you want to formulate a new API, well, if you are, I assume if you are a pharmacy student, the active pharmaceutical ingredient, or if you want to get into an area where you want to design and develop a business around an idea where you are innovating. This document will come to you to key activities, key resources, and cost structure on your left, and customer relations, customer segments, channels, and revenue streams on your right. So on your left, you have 4 areas, and on your right, you have 4 areas. On your left, you have something that you do in-house, and on your right, that something that happens outside in the outside environments. But most importantly, if you look at the center of this document, it talks about value proposition. Value propositions are those aspects or elements which actually help you define the USP or unique selling proposition or the differentiating factors of your idea, business, product. So typically, if you get a document in a normal situation, we will start from left to right. In some situations, we will start anywhere. But in this situation, let's start from the center of business model canvas, which is the heart of your business. The reason is value proposition, the unique selling proposition, the USP or the differentiating factor, which makes customers buy your product or service. Let me share some light on what value propositions are. It is essentially the value that your customers, users, uh, or your clients receive out of using your product or service, or the product, the value or the value that your product or service adds to the life of your users, clients, customers. It is important that we first define what makes us different. Now, see it this way: if you are starting a business which is already existing business, as in the product or the service, then you are no different. You live in a competitive world where if you are not doing something differently, you are one amongst the thousands of others who are doing it, and eventually you only compete basis your price. However, if you start thinking about how I can add value to what my customers are receiving right now from the market, and if that value is recognized by your customers, is accepted by your customers, you are bound to do well. At the end of the day, customers buy products that add value in return to the money that they've paid. It's as simple as that. All the successful businesses in the world, all the successful startups in the world, all the successful organizations in the world, they deliver value. What value you are delivering to your customers? Think about the scenario. Uh, let's say years ago, we had, for, if I have a headache, if I have cold, if I have cough, and if I have fever, we had to take 2, 3, or maybe 4 different medicines. Now we live in a world where there are different compositions available, where if you take one medicine and everything gets taken care of. So do you as a customer want to take 4 different medicines, or you prefer to take one medicine that takes care of 4 different illnesses or problems that your body has? Of course, the second one. Why? It adds value. Instead of taking 4 medicines, you are taking 1 medicine. That's value proposition. Take another example. Remember the days when you had to take auto rickshaw to go from one place to another? Or you had to take the yellow and black taxi? You had to go to the taxi stand or the rickshaw stand. You ask the person, and that person decides whether they will take you or not, isn't it? You don't decide as passenger, they decide. That was a problem that everybody faced. Look at today. We have Olas and Ubers of the world. What they do is they make your ride more comfortable, meaning they are adding value to the experience that you get as a passenger for a taxi. How are they adding value? They give you safety, meaning you can share your trip with parents at home if you are traveling somewhere alone. You can share your trip with the friends alone so that they know where you are. It adds comfort. How? You don't have to go to the rickshaw or taxi stand. They'll come to your doorstep and pick you up. Adds comfort. Convenient. You don't have enough money? Go for a Ola share, Uber pool. You split the fare. It also adds comforting factors such as AC. It also adds safety features such as you have features where you can make speed calls. You can actually send an SOS. So what is happening here is essentially it is a taxi service, but they are adding value to you as a customer for the money that you are paying for the service that you are getting. Hence, we are living in a time where if we had a choice, we would rather get an Ola or Uber than getting an auto rickshaw or a yellow and black taxi. These are value proposition. What makes your business different and add value to your customer's life? Remember this, if you can add value to your customer's life, you are going to do well. So the first thing that you need to do when you are preparing your business model canvas is to write down all your value proposition, the reasons why your customers, your potential customers will buy your product or services. That's value proposition. Now that you have your value propositions done, which is the heart of your business model canvas, think about what is in your control. Means what you need to do in order to provide this value propositions or USP to your clients or customers or users. If you look at on the left side of the business model canvas, you have key partners, key activities, key resources. These are essentially areas or factors that help you develop and deliver value to your customers. Let's look at key activities. Whatever your differentiations are, whatever your value propositions are, whatever your USPs are, in order to develop these USPs, what activities you will have to carry out in your factory, in your office, in your production system, so that it makes your product deliver the values that you promise to your customers. So these are called key activities. It could be manufacturing, it could be design, it could be research and development, it could be customer research, it could be your market research, it could be anything. But these are the activities which essentially make your product different, help you make your product different, add value to your offering. So these are your key activities. If you look at the key resources, these are the resources that actually help you perform key activities. Now, if you look closely, these are all interconnected. They are not mutually exclusive. They are all interconnected. Value propositions are those USPs that that add value to your customer's life. To develop those value propositions, you will have to perform certain activities which are key activities, such as manufacturing, design, research, R&D, whatever. To perform such activities, you will require certain resources, and those are your key resources. For example, you will, if let's say your R&D, your research and development is one of the key activities that adds value, helps you add value in your product, you will need scientists, you will need people who will come with special skills to perform your R&D. If design is your key activity, you will need designers who come with special skills, who will help you perform those key activities. So the key resources are those resources which help you perform key activities. They come in the form of people, they come in the form of funds, they come in the form of expertise, they come in the form of machineries, they come in the form of technology, or they come in the form of legal assistance, IPR, or intellectual property rights like trademark or patent or whatever. So these are the key resources which help perform key activities which help you add value to your product. Now, if you go further to your left, that's key partners. Key partners are those who actually help you gather key resources for your business. For example, you are in the business of developing a new type of drug which cures a specific illness. So your key activity is manufacturing of the drug. Key resource is the material that you use to manufacture the drug, and key partner are the companies, organizations, vendors, suppliers who would supply you with the right kind of raw material that becomes your key resources, which helps you perform your key activities. So now you can see the link. Your if you are in a business where there are a lot of regulatory frameworks, government and government agencies are your key partners. If you are in a business where technology is one of the key activity, then those who are helping you build the technology or the technological framework or the infrastructure will come under key partners. So now you can see whatever you need to do to create a product that delivers value, differentiation to your customers, these activities are on the left of your business model canvas. They are key activities, key resources, and key partners. Whereas if you see on the left hand side bottom of your key model business model canvas, you'll see something that is cost structure. What is a cost structure? Cost structure is a combination of all the fixed and variable costs. Let me put, I think you are not accountancy students, so let me put it in a very simple words. Any activity that you do, it will cost you money. So key resources are, let's say, your people, your technology, your material. You will have to pay for it. You'll have to pay salaries. You'll have to pay for your material. You'll have to pay for your machines. You'll have to pay for your technology, the key resources that you have. Any costs that goes into acquiring those key resources and maintaining the key resources that help you perform those activities. What if you have scientists? You don't pay them salary. You will have a resource, but they will not perform the activity. What if you have a manufacturing setup, but you do not buy raw material? You will have activity, but you will not have resource. So to run those activities, acquire and retain and sustain those resources, whatever cost you incur will go into your cost structure. Essentially, these are costs that you need to incur to acquire that you need to set up a business, and the costs that you need to incur to run a business. These are your costs. So your key activities, key resources, and key partners will be, these are factors which incur costs. In addition to generate value, you need to do something for which you need to pay money, which is your cost structure. So that's your left side of the business model canvas. Now, if you look at the right side of the business model canvas, the activities that you see there are happening beyond your office, beyond your manufacturing setup, beyond your in-house. The first activity is customer relationships. Now, if you look at business as a whole, there is something called customer journey. What is a customer journey? customer journey is where right from inquiring for the product to acquiring product, the entire journey that a customer goes through. Let me give you an example. You want to buy a car. If you want to buy a car, the first thing that you do is to see what your budget is, and based on the budget, you are going to list down the options that you have. Based on the options that you have, you are going to go to a showroom for each option. You're going to go there, check the specifications, go for a test drive, and you do it for 3, 4, 5 different options that you have. Along the way, you get interested. You send further inquiry to the showroom saying, I like this car, I want to buy it. What's the next process? So this is customer journey moving in the direction of a sale. You give them an offer saying, this is the car, this is the offer. You go ahead and purchase it. Why don't you come and have another test drive? So the customer comes, then they make a purchase decision. Then they get the delivery of the car, and post that you give them the after sales service. This is the entire customer journey that you have to cater to, regardless whether you are in the business of manufacturing medicine, manufacturing medical devices, manufacturing an automobile, or manufacturing a mobile phone. The entire customer journey would remain more or less the same. How, as you as a company, are maintaining relations with the customer at different stages in their customer journey is very important. Remember the last time you went to for a vacation and stayed in a hotel, who took your phone number, your email ID, and your date of birth, and probably the anniversary date or whatever. The way they maintain customer relationship is a few days before it's your birthday, they send you a message saying it's your birthday, you come and stay with us, the cake and maybe the dinner for that night is on us. That's how they maintain customer relationship. As a company, how do you maintain relations with your customer is absolutely important. We must have seen there are 10 stores beside each other, be it medical stores, kirana stores, vegetable stores, whatever. But then you go to the store where you get the best treatment, isn't it? Because you get the same stuff everywhere and they are just next to each other. Why do you go to a particular store? Is because not because they sell a different product, is because they are selling a product, but the kind of relationships you have with them or them with you is different. The way they treat you is different, is better, and that makes you go to the same place over and over again. So customer relationships are areas where in the entire customer journey, how you maintain relationships with your customers. And in fact, there are certain places, for example, we have a specific kirana store that we go to every time we want to buy kirana. We have a specific medical store where we go every time when we want to buy medicine. There's a specific store where we go to buy jewelry whenever we need jewelry. Similarly with doctors, similarly with any service providers. Because they have and we have a good relationship, we keep going to the same people. So that relationships, channels, if you look customer relationships, below customer relationships, it's channels. Channels are essentially the mode of, or basically the interaction point, or the point where you or your product and your customers meet. The point of sale, it's essentially a place where your customers can buy and interact or use your product. It could be online, it could be offline. You look at this, the new models where, if I'm not feeling well, I have to go to the doctor, the family doctor who is, who has the hospital near about, let's say 3 kilometers away from where I live. However, now that the same doctor is available on Practo, I think there's this portal called Practo. on which I can book an online consultation, and I can either have a video consultation or in-person consultation. So what am I doing essentially is I'm increasing the channels through which I'm interacting and providing my product and services to my customers. The more the channel, the more easier, the more accessible you are, the better it is to retain a customer. If your customer has to travel 25 kilometers every time to acquire your product or services, probably at some stage he's going to feel that, no, I don't want to travel so much. Let me find an alternative which is nearby. What do you do when you are on Amazon? Essentially, you are buying the same stuff that you can buy in your retail stores. So what you do, because you want the comfort, because you want the doorstep delivery, because you don't want to spend a lot of time, just go online and buy. So these are different channels through which you are reaching out to your customers. If I'm yet to see a company that is not figuring out different ways of reaching customers. I mean, the more channels you adopt, the better it is for customers. It could be online, it could be offline, it could be wholesale, it could be retail, it could be manufacturing, it could be anything. It's essentially a place, a point of sale where your customers can buy your products. The easier you make them, the more convenient you make them, the more likely that you will have new customers and retain the existing customers. So that's channels for you. If you look at on the far left right side of your business model canvas, you see customer segments. Absolutely important. Why customer segments are important is because you want to sell and you want to give the product to the right kind of person, the right kind of customers. Imagine you are selling a mobile phone to someone who doesn't even know how to use a mobile phone. Is he or she your customer? Probably not. Imagine you are selling a hair growth oil to someone who is probably uh, bald. It's not solving the purpose, right? So customer segments are the segment of the market. There is an entire market, right? But not everybody is going to be your customer. There are people who will have a specific need for which you are solving a problem, for which you are offering a product. They are going to come and buy your product. If you are selling a Mercedes car and you are approaching a person whose monthly salary is 10,000 rupees, probably you are selling a very good product to the wrong person. Why? Because that person does not have the affordability to buy this car. He or she is not your customer segment. But if you are selling a Mercedes car to someone whose monthly salary or income is over 5 lakhs rupees, the likelihood of you making a sale there is very high. So it's essential that we identify the right kind of customer segments. Having a brilliant product, selling it to the wrong market or the wrong customer segment will eventually fail, will make the product fail. But having a good product and selling it to the right people will make the product successful, will make the business successful. And when you have the right kind of relationships with your customers, when you are reaching your customers on time and with convenience, and you have identified the right segments, the revenue will start flowing in. If you look at the bottom right segment or element there, which is revenue streams. What are the different revenue streams that you are having for your business? Let me take an example. We all have bank accounts in whichever bank, right from SBI to HDFC to ICICI to Bank of Baroda and so on and so forth. We all have bank accounts. These banks, they have multiple revenue streams. The moment you open a bank account, they say you can also buy insurance policies from us. So the first revenue stream for them, the bank account in which you put your money gives them money. The second revenue stream is they sell you insurance policies, you buy insurance policies, they get money, second revenue stream. Third, they know, because it's your salary account, they know how much money you get every month. They'll tell you that you invest in the mutual funds that we offer, on which they will take some commission. Third revenue stream. The fourth is they will give you wealth management products. As to, they'll tell you how do you use your money so that it grows rather than sitting in your savings account. That's number 4, 5 revenue stream. They also give you loans for which you pay interest. That's another revenue stream. So if you keep thinking that way, one single customer can actually become a source of multiple revenue stream for one company. Now, if you are in the process of building a business, identifying an idea, think about if you are in a business, what are the different ways you can provide services, add value to your customers, which becomes a revenue stream in itself. When you buy a car, you take an extended warranty. When you go to a hospital, they have different rooms, category of rooms, different revenue streams, right? When you go for your cataract surgery, they have different packages, adds value every package, different revenue stream. They also sell medicines. Let's take an example of a hospital. Why do you go to a hospital? Because you are not well. Somebody in the family or the people who we know are not well. We go to the hospital. We essentially go to see a doctor. The doctor says you get admitted. So hospital has a revenue stream where you pay for the consultation charges, a revenue stream where you pay for the room where you are admitted, a revenue stream when you consume the medicines that is sold by a medical store in the hospital, a revenue stream where when you have to go for your x-rays and scans, the revenue stream there, a revenue stream where you are done when you have to go through a surgery, pay for the operation theater and the disposables that the doctors use. Post surgery, you need a physiotherapy. They have a physiotherapy there where you go and pay for it. Now, one business can limit itself by saying we only do surgeries. For everything else, you go somewhere else. As a patient, because I am a patient and my body is not well, I need everything at one place. I am a patient, I can't run around. So what hospitals do is they start adding more values, more services, more offerings, more care to the patients, by which for different services the patients will provide their fees. So you have multiple revenue streams. This is how a business model canvas is made. So now that we have covered 9 elements, it starts with the central, the heart. If you look at the body, the heart is here. It's at the center of our being. Similarly, if you look at the business model canvas, the value proposition, your differentiating factors, your USPs are at the center of it. On the left are the activities, are the things, are the aspects that help you develop and offer this value propositions. On the right, you see those activities which help you get more customers. Because you do activities that help you develop your product, services, and value, you have to incur some costs. So underneath you will see cost structure. And because on the right you get your customers who will come and avail your services because you are adding value, you will see revenue at the bottom. So that's in a nutshell a business model canvas. It can be used by anyone who is either a professional within the business, or an entrepreneur who is running a business, or an aspiring entrepreneur who is on the verge of developing a business which uh, he wants to scale up in future. So that essentially a business model canvas is, and this is how you can use a single page document uh, to completely show what your business is, what your products are, what your processes are, what your costs are, and how you are going to generate revenue for the customer from the customers. So I hope I have been able to explain what business model canvas is, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, on business model canvas.
Yes, sir. So, like, thanks a lot, sir. It was indeed an insightful and thought-provoking talk. You really nailed the concept of the business model canvas and very simplified manner, sir. And it was really didactic way of explaining all the features of the business model canvas. So now come at the hour we have all been buckling up for, that is the question and answer session. So with the keynote speaker this afternoon. So there are some questions from our side, sir. Would you mind if I ask some?
Sure, I'll be happy to
Yeah.
answer them.
So how often and how should a business model be reviewed?
Well, it's like, let me give you an example. Okay, a story. Uh, I like sharing stories. Um my sister wears sunglasses. The eyeglasses, not sunglasses, which has, some powers in both the eyes. Minus zero point 0.5 and minus 1.5. Every 6 months, she has to go to uh, the doctor and get her eyes checked. Why? Just to see whether the powers have changed or not. Whether there is some change in power. Basis that, if there is no change, you continue wearing the same glasses. If there is change, then you change the glasses and start wearing the new glasses. Why? It will help you see clearly. Similarly, business model canvas is a document which acts like a roadmap. Periodically, you can review it every quarter, you can review it twice a year, or you can review it every year. I, Ideally, if you review it every 6 months, it gives you a better understanding of where you started, where you are, and are you in line, in sync with what you had planned. So, and if there is any deviation, either you change the plan or you change the activities, right? So, 6 months is a good amount of time that gives you as an entrepreneur or an organization an opportunity to work and execute the business model canvas as a plan. And it's a good amount of time for you to come back and reflect upon whether you have been, following the roadmap that you have created. If there are any external changes in the environment, for example, what happened, I mean, this time last year we were all thinking about, what do we do for vacations in May, the summer vacations, isn't it? Most of us had our vacations planned, so the business model canvas ready. And then on March 24 at 8 o'clock, the Honorable Prime Minister comes and says, nothing doing, you stay at home. All the plans cancelled. You go back and review your plan, cancel your tickets, cancel your bookings. Similarly, 6 months, execute your business model canvas, go back, reflect, make changes, continue.
Yes, sir. Truly said, sir. Moving on, as we see an enormous growth in the digital sector, so why are the digital options important with the business model?
If customers don't prefer buy online, I would not have a digital option to sell online. See, the reason why businesses have to go digital, is because the customers are found there. As a business, you would want to sell at a place where you can find your customers. If you find your customers offline, you sell offline. If you find your customers online, sell online. 10 years back, 15 years back, did any of us thought that we can actually get a doctor's consultation online? We never thought it. Now that customers, the people, the users have become technology savvy, they have started using technology, the businesses have got to use technology in order to keep and retain those customers. Hence, it is essential to move with the pace of customers. Businesses don't decide whether they should go digital or not. It's the customer behavior, it's the consumer behavior that makes businesses decide whether they have to go digital or not. So I think technology is here to stay, and businesses in some format will have to adopt technologies, if not sooner than later, but we are moving towards the times where all those things that we were doing offline, we will have an option to do online. Hence, digitization is inevitable in no matter what business you are in.
Yes, sir. Okay. Moving on. Supposingly, we're starting off with a business that is supposed to solve a problem. So, how can we firmly know that a true need of it actually exists?
If you go to a doctor and tell doctor that I'm not feeling well, the doctor will give you some medicines. You go home, take medicines. Next morning, uh, you don't feel better. You again go back to the doctor, and the doctor says, and you tell the doctor, I don't feel well. The doctor again gives you medicine. You go back home, take medicines, come back, same result. Unless the doctor asks you and you tell the doctor that I don't feel well in my tooth or in my chest or in my shoulder, unless you tell them that I don't feel well here, they will not be able to give you the right medicine. Similarly, if you go to, and so to answer your question whether you are solving the right problem or not, the question you need to ask yourself or to ourselves is, for whom are we solving the problem? For a specific people we are solving the problem. So you need to go to them and ask them, is this the problem you are facing? If they say yes, this is the problem I am facing, then you know you are solving the right problem. Right? So we can't decide whether we are solving the right problem or not. It's the people, it's the organizations, it's the businesses, it's the users for whom we are solving the problem. They decide, they give us the feedback so that we know we are solving the right problem. So to, in one sentence, if you want to know whether you are solving the right problem or not, go and ask those people for whom you are solving the problem. If they say, yes, that's my problem, I want a solution, yes, you are solving the right problem.
Okay, sir. Moving on. So, if you're intended to launch a similar product or a service which already exists in the market and provided by some well-established firms, but then we plan to start with a more aggressive price point. So, will the price be able to differentiate my product or service than the others?
Well, to a certain extent, yes. But have you heard this concept of the big fish eating the small fish? Right?
Yes, sir.
So fighting your business battle on the grounds of price works for a very short amount of time. For a while it might work, but then if you want to offer something at a cheaper rate than what your existing competitors are offering, and they are well established, You need to give people the reason to come to you. Just because the product is cheaper, they will not come to you. In a long run, you need to differentiate. You need to give your customers something extra so that they come to you. Price is never going to be a competitive advantage in a long run. If you look at any company, let's think about Geo, right? What did Geo do? Freemium model, because they knew that there are 2 3 major players in the market. Let us offer something for free. Price zero, absolutely. You know, but eventually to survive, they had to come up with value addition for which customers will pay for their services. So yes, in a short term, prices or price will give you a competitive advantage, but if you want to sustain in a long term, you need an advantage over your customers where you are adding value, and there are enough ways to add value to your customers. There are multiple companies that are considered to be the giants of the industry, and they are nowhere right now. Let me share an example. If we were sitting in the year 2002, where most of you were kind of kids, and if you ask your parents and family members which mobile phone did they use, the handset, it was the Nokia,
Yes.
right? Nokia about 15, 18 years back was an undisputed market leader. But then there were other companies who did not fight a price war with Nokia. They fought a feature war. They fought a benefit war with Nokia. There was this company, Samsung, there was Apple, there was other companies who came up with smartphone where Nokia was still thinking about a smartphone. There were other companies who came up with a smartphone, small companies. Now, after almost 2 decades, they are much bigger than Nokia. So price war, very highly competitive market, yes, it might work, but then always think of what else. There is something called secret need of customers. Whenever you use a product, think about, let's say, levels of needs. I'm hungry, so being hungry is my uh, stated need. I state that need that I'm hungry. My real need is burger, right? I want to have a burger. uh, my unstated need is that I'm going to have ketchup with my burger. So that's my unstated need. My delight need is, what if somebody gives me a, some French fries along with the burger? That delights me. What happens in the market is, stops with the sachet of ketchup when you go and buy a burger. If you can delight your customer by offering something more, something better, something extra, something useful, you no longer have to be in the price war. Then you can still command a premium and you can still get more customers.
Yes. So moving to the last question, sir. So as we all know, to stabilize any new business or a startup, the company should have a financial projection ready. So
Right.
what all aspects should be kept in mind while framing the financial projection for the next 2 to 3 years?
Uh, Two words: be real, right? Be realistic. I've seen a lot of, I work with a lot of startups and a lot of organizations where they are working on business plans and projections and products and designs. What they do is, the financial projections that they make are for the financial institutions from where they are going to borrow money. If you speak to people who are already in the business, they will say, I am making these projections so that I get business loan, right? Or if you are pitching your business idea to an investor, you are inflating your sales number and telling them that we are going to get our revenue is going to be 100 cr by the end of year 3 and 500 cr by the end of year 5. It may for a while attract the people to whom you are showing your numbers, but please remember you are making financial projection for yourself and your business. The more realistic you are, the less disappointed you will be. The more overtly ambitious you are, the more disappointed you will be, right? So when you make your financial projections, always be conservative when you are projecting your revenue. If you are confident that I'm going to sell a 10,000 units every month, be conservative, say 8,000 units, so that you are not going neck to neck. So you are projecting your sales a little lower. And when you are projecting your costs, consider the contingencies, the external environment changes. And always, if it costs X today, add X plus 10%, so that you don't have to struggle when the cost for something increases, the price for your raw material increases. If you are conservative in your sales numbers, I'm not saying you don't be ambitious, but be realistically ambitious. And be when you are managing your costs, make sure that you manage all the costs and you're not leaving anything out. When you do that, the chances of you being successful and managing and surpassing your own expectations will be higher. You don't want to be in a situation where you have exaggerated your sales numbers and then you end up getting less sales and feeling disappointed. In fact, you be realistic, achieve those sales numbers, go beyond that and feel ecstatic about it. I've achieved something better. That gives you the confidence to move ahead in your business. So two things: be realistic, number one, and number two, be conservative when you are estimating your sales, and be generous when you are estimating your costs. That will help you build a decent and effective financial model.
Yes, sir. Well, it's truly said, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for this interactive session. It was really inspiring. Now I'd request the student vice head of IIC-PCP, Ryan Burgess, to kindly present the vote of thanks.
Heartiest greetings to one and all present here. It indeed is a privilege for me to propose a valedictorian bow on this wonderful occasion. I, Ryan Burgess, on behalf of the entire IIC-PCP crew, would like to appreciate the earnest and diligent efforts of Mr. Chirag Gujarati sir, who actually took out time amid his rigorous schedule to enlighten us about the business model canvas. I'd also steal this opportunity to thank our patron, Pawar sir, Pokarkar ma'am, Rao ma'am, Bothiraja sir, Sharvil sir, and Deepali ma'am, and also the entire panel of eminent faculty members who keep a check on the functioning of the cell and coordinate with us at VRs as well. I also extend my gratitude to Mr. Saurabh sir and the entire team of MIDA School of Entrepreneurship, who have been like, for the past 1 month, we have been on calls speaking about different things, what the event should be, how it should be. And now I feel like it's all totally worth it. Last but not the least, I'd also extend a sense of gratitude and indebtedness to all the student volunteers and all the attendees who actually gathered here and contributed to the grand success of this event. Thanks for you all for coming.